The June sun burns a little brighter over Berkshire when Royal Ascot begins. 5 days, 5 carriages, centuries of ritual, each turning the famous stretch of emerald turf into a stage where tradition, sport, and page-turning family drama collide. On Wednesday, the Palace Press Office fully expected a marquee double act. The Prince and Princess of Wales, side by side in that first horse-drawn landau, would wave to cheering grandstands, light up social feeds, and deliver a moment tailor-made for glossy wrap-ups. Cameras were calibrated, headlines drafted, and bookmakers jokingly took odds on the shade of Katherine's hat. But just after noon, the race card of expectations flipped face down. Ascot's officials had published the carriage list, confirming both William and Katherine. Barely 30 minutes later, Kensington Palace issued a brief correction: the Princess of Wales would not attend after all. They offered no medical bulletin, no additional detail, only a polite reminder that her schedule, post-treatment, remains flexible. It was just one sentence, yet the ripple traveled faster than a startled thoroughbred. Journalists tore up scripts, commentators pivoted from pastel predictions to pressing questions, and the day's immaculate choreography was forced into a last-second rewrite. Cue a collective double-take. How often does a royal absence upstage the monarch himself? As the royal procession formed up, William still rode in the lead carriage, but the empty seat beside him felt louder than any trumpet flourish. Up close, the prince looked the picture of composure, tailcoat cut to perfection, top hat tipped at just the right angle, fingers lifting in the steady wave perfected over 4 decades. Step back, and you could almost see the invisible weight he carries this summer. For a full year he has toggled between heir apparent and chief caretaker, steadying a father undergoing his own cancer fight, while shielding 3 young children from the worry shadowing their mother's recovery. Every flawless appearance hides a diary sprint patched together around hospital appointments, bedtime stories, and constitutional briefings. Yet royalty allows no sick day form. William's first duty after the carriage circuit would be to present the trophy for the Prince of Wales's stakes, a race that literally carries his title. Tradition calls for a shared spotlight, husband and wife handing silverware to jubilant owners, delivering the photo every editor can already picture. Instead, the future king did it unaccompanied, framed only by jockey and trainer. Poise intact, smile genuine, but undeniably solo. One by one, billions of pixels captured a living metaphor, an heir left to carry the load while his partner rests beyond the camera's reach. But what came next surprised even seasoned royal watchers. If Katherine's absence left a void, Kate Middleton seemed determined to soften the edges. The princess's mother arrived at Ascot in a butter yellow lace dress, by Ep09 London, a hue bright enough to catch the eye yet refined enough not to steal the crown's thunder. Her blush-toned wide-brimmed hat echoed a design she'd worn at the same meet more than a decade earlier, a private nod to family continuity. As she smiled, shared polite small talk with stewards, and accepted a program from a footman, cameras homed in. In that instant, spectators whispered that a maternal presence felt almost like a message: if Carol's calm, perhaps everything really is under control. It helped that the king himself was in buoyant spirits. Charles's passion for racing will never match the late Queen's encyclopedic devotion, yet he has discovered a newfound affection for the sport since ascending the throne, surprising even close advisors. He plans to attend all 5 days this year, an endurance test under the best of circumstances, let alone mid-treatment. Wednesday he settled beside Queen Camilla, binoculars in hand, ready to cheer a homebred runner from his Highgrove stud. Those shots of father and son, William in the parade ring, Charles in the royal box, formed a quiet through line, 2 generations keeping the show on the road while half the firm recuperates out of sight. Still, the lingering question refused to fade. Was Katherine's no-show a sign of medical relapse or merely smart pacing? Palace aides point to her recent hat-trick of appearances, Trooping the Colour, Order of the Garter, and a hands-on visit to the V&A East storehouse, all within 8 days. Each outing required multi-hour rehearsals, security sweeps, and the relentless pull of public scrutiny. Doctors warned that chemotherapy's after-effects can flare without notice: fatigue today, nausea tomorrow, fine the next. The princess, determined not to undo months of progress, chose caution over ceremony. When you consider that her last public schedule before diagnosis was jam-packed with early years conferences, school visits, and overseas tours, the shift in tempo becomes stark. Recovery, as one palace insider put it, is a marathon run on a track that keeps changing length. Fans seem to understand. "I'm gutted but completely get it," said Jane Price, a cancer survivor who had driven 3 hours to Berkshire. "I had chemo at 31, she's 43 with 3 kids and the eyes of the world on her. If she needs rest, rest." Others echoed the sentiment. Ian, attending with his teenage daughter, shrugged. "We've waited to see her hat game, sure, but health over headlines any day." For every disappointed spectator, there was a note of empathy, proof that patience can outshine curiosity when the backstory involves needles and waiting rooms. Yet empathy doesn't shrink the vacancy inside William's carriage. As the prince guided guests through the royal enclosure, you could almost hear the palace calculators clicking. How many future engagements can be reconfigured on short notice? Can state visits proceed if Katherine's energy dips again? And how do you keep the monarchy's A-list couple visible enough to reassure the public, yet protected enough to safeguard recovery? It's the tightrope act defining 2025, one that grows wobblier every time an event as scripted as Ascot rewrites itself in real time. Meanwhile, a subtler subplot unfolded in the grandstands. Among the guests sat Thomas Van Straubenzee and James Mead, 2 of William's closest school friends and godparents to his children. Their presence felt deliberate, a cushion of familiarity amid the glare. Lady Sarah Chatto, Princess Margaret's quietly beloved daughter, added an extra dash of continuity, reminding onlookers that the extended Windsor constellation still orbits these summer rituals. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Late in the afternoon, long after William had handed over the Prince of Wales's stakes trophy, rumours rippled through press pens that the couple's private photographers were already in residence at the Cambridgeshire countryside, pre-positioned, some said, for a low-key family shoot this weekend. Was it pure coincidence? Or a strategic counterpoint to quell chatter about health setbacks? The palace offered no comment, and that silence, as ever, spoke volumes. When your life is global headline fodder, sometimes the smartest move is to create your own pictures on your own terms, far from the betting boards and millinery madness. Even so, no photograph can fully capture the invisible calculus behind each appearance or absence. Friends note that William and Katherine's rule of thumb is now quality over quantity. Better one flawless engagement, like Katherine's luminous trooping debut, than 3 half-powered slots that drain reserves. But quality, in this context, also means unpredictability. One week the princess may stand beside 1,000 soldiers on Horse Guards parade. The next she may bow out of a carriage ride watched mainly by racegoers. It's the kind of flexibility other public figures rarely enjoy, yet the trade-off is total transparency whenever she does step into view. So where does that leave the watchers? Those who tuned in hoping for hat grandeur and left debating chemotherapy recovery timelines. Perhaps with a new appreciation for the human beneath the headline. Royal Ascot will roll on, champions will finish nose to nose, and the king will lift a silver cup or 2. Yet the most talked about moment of day 2 remains the one that didn't happen. A princess choosing rest over ritual, leaving her husband framed against a backdrop of expectation. And that, oddly enough, may be the hook that keeps audiences clicking refresh. Because the modern monarchy's power no longer lies only in its glittering set pieces. It lies in how deftly it manages uncertainty, revealing just enough to earn compassion without surrendering privacy. Every absence breeds intrigue. Will she appear tomorrow? Next week? At Balmoral, and every return feels like a small triumph over fear. As the sun dipped behind the grandstand and the last champagne flute clinked, William slipped away to debrief with stewards. Photographers packed lenses, guests compared winnings, and a quiet consensus settled. The show had gone on, just skewed sideways. Somewhere beyond the paddock, Katherine rested, perhaps scrolling through messages of support, perhaps mapping the next incremental milestone on a recovery chart no one else will ever see. The empty seat in the lead carriage. It will be there in every highlight reel, a silent cameo reminding viewers of resilience still in progress. Yet it's also a placeholder, a space waiting for the moment she feels strong enough to climb back in, hat tilted, smile steady, letting the world exhale at last. Until then, keep your notifications on. Because with Windsor fortunes rising and dipping like thoroughbreds on the final furlong, the next twist could thunder in at any minute, and you won't want to miss the moment that seat is finally filled.